Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
This just got this in this minute, and it is about Hillary Clinton's campaign. Olympic figure skater Michelle Kwan is now a full-time paid staffer on Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign, while Tanya Harding was hired to take care of any other Democrats who enter the race. There's your news flash for this morning. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a patriot with the Pledge of Allegiance. Come on, call me. Good morning, good morning. Oh, God bless you. Thank you very much, Kate Smith, and God bless America. Thank you. Welcome to Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with our great advertisers like Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call, get on the route service today, 734-6969. Along with Valleywide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert, everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch at Valleywide Home and Ranch. Oh, and by the way, don't forget too, Ted's Diesel Electric is moving to 635 21st Street in Hayburn. You better believe it, Doug Martin. He's boxing everything up and going over to that new location to better serve you, rebuilding starters, alternators, and generators, and he sells brand new also at Ted's Diesel Electric, 635 21st Street in Hayburn. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have a Pledge of Allegiance person. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very, very well done. Sir, God bless you. Have a wonderful day, okay?
Thank you.
All right, sir. Thank you. Wheels, I need you to turn the callers in a little bit up in my headsets. I'm having a real hard time hearing them this morning. So if you can, or ask Jerry to maybe boost that up a little bit for me. Right now, I'm going to have the weather forecast, and the weather is brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. And the number to call, 678-6945. Look for the blue door. Oh, my goodness. Kyle and Whitney, wonderful people. And they've got all your carpet and your flooring and your kitchen construction needs, great ideas for home decor, whatever you need to make your house a home. They can help you at Cheney Flooring and Home Design. And right now, here is the weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we do make our way through the work week. Partly cloudy for today, a little bit on the breezy side. Out of the southeast, right around 12 miles an hour. Expect a high of 85 for today. Tonight, low 57. Tomorrow, pretty much the same as today, but as we work our way towards the weekend, it is going to be a little bit warmer. By Friday, looks like sunny skies, high of 90. However, for the weekend, winds are going to be remaining steady out of the west, and looks like partly cloudy skies. Highs are going to be in the low to mid-80s. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Range.
Very well done. Thank you very much. Brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design at 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. Oh, man. Nice evening last night. And Goober and I sat out on the back porch last night and just enjoyed. The skies were clearing, a little bit less smoke, and just enjoyed a great August evening last night. Hope you did too. Hey, by the way, this is really important because Jimmy and Frida Flowers are celebrating their anniversary today. These are two of the nicest people that I know, and a big help with our lunch bunch every month, and God's blessings to them. And if you see them today, please wish them a very, very happy anniversary. Jimmy and Frida Flowers, wonderful folks and great listeners to Zeb at the Ranch, and we appreciate them. Don't forget, too, our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. The number to call, 678-0459. They're open 7:30 to 5:30 Monday through Friday, and they always want to serve you with the best of all your heating and electrical needs. And don't forget, coming up on September 10th, it's the Patriots Day for this year, and the kickoff to Hats Off to Farmers. All of that with a remote broadcast over at Ramsey Heating and Electric. And we got something special for you we're going to be talking about starting next week at Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Oh, we got word from Mandy over at Valleywide Home and Ranch. And Valleywide Home and Ranch at 910 South Oneida in Rupert, they literally have everything for all your fishing supplies. Now, if you want to be like me, I'm going to take a day or two and just get lost. A lot of people tell me, get lost. Well, I'm going to get lost for a couple of days, and I'm going to go fishing. And Valleywide Home and Ranch has all the fishing needs, all your reels, your rods, your lures, your license, everything right there at Valleywide Home and Ranch. And Mandy also wants to say thank you and congratulations to all the Minidoka and Cassia County fairs and all the great kids. They did a great job, and Valleywide Home and Ranch wants to say thank you for your business. Really good folks at Valleywide Home and Ranch. Everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch at Valleywide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. All right, it is your turn to give me a call. Come on, let's get things rolling here this morning. A couple of things that need to be done first and foremost. There is an update on something that a really nice gentleman called in a couple of days ago on Monday and alerted us to something I found absolutely horrific when I had my lovely bride pull it up on the internet services and we checked it out, that in Michigan, at the Lansing Center on September 11th of all days, Mayors Verge Bernero and Nathan Triplett of Lansing and East Lansing, Michigan, respectively, were going to hold a Ramadan unity dinner. And you're saying, well, so what? Well, it happens to be on the anniversary of 9/11. Absolutely the dumbest, most ridiculous date to have something in regards to a Ramadan Muslim unity dinner. Well, I have an update. On this. Thanks again to my lovely bride this morning. We have found out that after, and this is how they're wording it, after due deliberation, the event organizers have decided that the community's remembrance of the tragic events of 9/11 and the celebration of diversity and inclusion embodied in the Ramadan Unity Dinner, they should be held at separate times. Gee, do you think... You know, this is a no-brainer. How could anybody... I mean, I'm absolutely sitting here wondering, how could two mayors, city councils, etc., be this blatantly stupid to schedule and that right on their advertising they've got a great big crescent representing Islam, and it says in big letters, the 9th annual Mayor's Ramadan Unity Dinner held on 9/11. How could you be that dumb and that uncaring to what happened on that date in New York City? And all the tickets they say purchased for the original event will be honored by the rescheduled date. Well, good for them. But I absolutely, first of all, I wouldn't have the dinner. I wouldn't celebrate the Ramadan Unity Dinner. No. I just can't go along with this appeasement. There's another story I want to throw in here at this time, and it bothers me. And I don't care if you call me a hate monger or a bigot. Go ahead. I mean, I've got my big boy pants on. I can take it. And maybe you can't handle it yourself. But there's a double standard going on. And I'll tell you why. Chris Carter, the other day, former Minnesota Vikings all-pro receiver in the Hall of Fame, I think said something that was so outrageous and so stupid when they caught him on tape telling rookies at a rookie camp going into fall training that you better be prepared when you go out in public or go to a party or something to have a fall guy that you can put the blame on and get out of there and get away from anything as far as public scrutiny. That's stupid. That's stupid. But here's what happened, folks, and how it ties into what we were talking about Ramadan. Curt Schilling, one of the best baseball pitchers of all time with the Red Sox and other teams, Diamondbacks, etc., compared radical Islam to Nazi Germany. And he was suspended by ESPN. I noticed last night when I was going through the dial, watching some of the Little League World Series, Curt Schilling wasn't there, and he was advertised as one of the announcers that was going to cover that event. They pulled him off the air. They pulled him off the air because they thought that his statement was offensive to Muslims when he was stating the truth. Radical Muslim and Nazi Germany. And he tweeted that. He didn't say it on the air. He had tweeted that. And ESPN, being the cowards that they are, and they've shown it before, pulled Curt Schilling off the air. But at the same time, when Chris Carter is telling rookies how to avoid the law and avoid punishment and have a fall guy, they leave him on, and Carter apologizes, all is well. A total double standard. Your thoughts. Come on, get involved in this, people. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. Come on, please. While I'm waiting for your calls, Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley, the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch. Oh, my goodness, 2 locations, 611 Overland in Burley, and a new location to serve you at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. The food is double great. Double great. I mean, it's absolutely phenomenal. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, service par excellence. These people really care. And I suggest you stop in and see them today. Great, great menu choices. You're going to love it at Denny's Restaurants. 611 Overland in Burley and 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Really good. All right, come on, get on the phone. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know what's coming up in just a matter of days? The great big 99th annual Twin Falls County Fair and Magic Valley Stampede Rodeo. And the theme this year, Country Flair at the fair. Man, they're going to have all kinds of fun starting. And on the first day of the fair, the September 2nd, they've got an all-star monster truck tour. This is going to be ripping good fun with some big trucks going around, bouncing up in the air and everything. You're going to love it. All of this and much, much more at the 99th annual Twin Falls County Fair and Magic Valley Stampede. Country Flair at the fair. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb.
Hello, my friend.
You know, Zeb Bush is complaining about Donald Trump violating the rights of these illegals to come into our country illegally. And he doesn't say a word about our rights being violated because we have to dig into our pockets to support these people that are here illegally.
Yeah. Yeah, and stop right there, because I had a caller the other day say, oh, come on, what they're getting from us is minuscule. Let them in. We're the nation of hope for the world. And I said, baloney. We are delving out of our pockets, our hard-earned money, our tax money, etc., and we're supplying people that came here illegally a free ride, and I'm sick of it.
Oh, absolutely. You know, they're here just a few months, can't speak English. They're getting all this money for popping out kids that we're paying for, and they're getting extra money for that. Next thing you know, they're driving around in new vehicles that you and I could not afford.
That's right. And I'll tell you something else. I don't want anybody to misunderstand. I am not against immigration in its purest form. If you want to come to this country, the land of hope and opportunity, God bless you. If you want to go through the legal channels that make citizens, God bless you. But when you sneak in and absolutely do nothing but be a criminal and have your child here on purpose so that it is an anchor baby, to anchor the family here to this country, I absolutely do not want you here.
They're not anchor babies, they're anchor burdens, and that's the only way you can look at this thing. They're destroying our country, and it won't be long if something isn't done on both sides of the aisle. This country is finished.
Absolutely. Tony, there's no argument on this side, and people have got to draw a line in the sand. They're going to have to pick which side they want to stand on. Sooner or later, the burden of having to pay for everything is coming out of your pocket and my pocket. Pretty soon, there's nothing left in the pocket but lint.
Well, we're making other countries more powerful than we are, and China is one example, and that's why our stock market's in the hole like it is.
I agree. Tony, always good to hear from you. Go over and give Mary a great big kiss, okay?
I certainly will.
All right,
Bye.
sir. Thank you. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't forget, every Tuesday right here on Zeb at the Ranch, we have Dr. History, and it's brought to you by Minnecasia Sales, 1321 East Main Street in Burley, right across from the airport. Good old Zach. There is a good old boy. I like him. They've got everything over there, from carpet to shingles to lumber to windows to tartar gates and farm and ranch panels. They've got it all right there at Minnecasia Sales. You stop in and see them today. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, Zeb, thanks. I'm going to try to keep it calm today. Here, I get excited. I just cannot believe.
I'm going to ask you, Art, wait a minute. Speak up, please, because I'm having a hard time hearing this morning. I don't know what happened, but I need you to speak up just a little bit.
You know what I may have to do? I'm on a cell phone. I may have to call you back.
Oh, you're okay.
Any better?
No, you're okay. Just speak up a little bit. I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, just quickly here. How dumb can the politicians and most of the people in this country be about our history, about what they see now? Everybody that's coming into this country at this point cannot be looking for liberty and abiding by a constitution. It's impossible. What they're doing is taking. And what the Muslim people are going to do, they're going to listen to the Muslim leaders in America, and the terrorist leaders are going to talk them into being terrorists. How stupid.
I agree with you. I think that we're being naive. I think our politicians are being stupid. I think that this country absolutely is in jeopardy right now of losing its character, losing its background, losing its morality, and losing the greatest constitution ever put together for any country in the world.
Thank you for letting me comment in.
God bless you, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it. Caller, go ahead. You're on the air, please.
Morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
You know, the more I watch Donald Trump, the more impressed I become. He reminds me of somebody from Twin Falls. Years ago, there was a place called Fison Motors, and it was owned by Emmett Harrison.
Mm-hmm.
And he was right to the point. No nonsense or anything. He ran his dealership, just ship shape, everything else. But he was fair with people when he dealt with them. At one time, he was the number one Mercury dealership in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And he was very, very tough on his people. In a snowstorm, he's seen them huddle up in the office there, so he went down and bought about 6 pair of gloves and told them to put their gloves on and go out on the lot and pace back and forth and create some excitement. And he locked the door and they stayed there. But guess what? 5 of the people that worked there went on to own their own new car dealerships.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's a man that's tough and everything, but he did a job that needed to be done. I didn't care for the man myself because he was always right to the point. But my gosh, I think this is the kind of person we need to straighten this country out.
Well, I tell you what, last night I watched the Trump speech, and I watched the press conference when Jorge Ramos of Univision tried to interrupt. Now, let me make a point here, real quick. Some of the liberal loons that are on the news from last night all the way through this morning, they were saying that Donald Trump was insensitive. They were saying that he was rude. They were saying he was impolite the way he handled the Jorge Ramos deal. No, listen, at a press conference, you don't stand up and just be belligerent and keep your point going when your name and your hand has not been acknowledged. You wait your turn. And I tell you what, if I were Trump, I would have handled it the same way and told Ramos, who is absolutely against Trump or anything to do with closing the border, I would have told him to sit down, shut up, and wait your turn.
Yes, and that's why he reminds me of Emmett Harrison, who's deceased now. But he was fair with people.
All right, Keith, I appreciate your view.
To the point.
I appreciate your viewpoint, and it's well taken. Thank you very much, sir. I got to run and do a hard break at the bottom of the hour. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Yeah, last night I watched that, and Jorge Ramos has been very belligerent, very obnoxious in other events. He's been very obnoxious on certain talk shows, and I don't like the man. I don't like what he represents, and I knew there was going to be bad blood there with him and Trump, and there ended up being bad blood, but I thought Trump handled it well. Hey, wait your turn or get out. And he invited him back in a little bit later. They discussed it in a professional manner, the question that he had, and it was answered, and all was well. But the media, the general media, will distort this and say, oh, it was all Trump, it was all rudeness, it was all his superior acting attitude. No, it wasn't. Jorge Ramos acted like a jackass. Mount Harrison Audiology. I absolutely thank Dr. Christine Pickup. She's helped me a lot over the last couple of months. I had a hearing problem, not a major one, but a hearing problem, and she's really helped me, and she can help you. Absolutely. Write this number down. Call today for a hearing screening, 312-0957. Easy to remember, 312-0957, and she's located right across from the Minidoka Hospital emergency room. You had better call for an appointment today. You know, why lose things? And when I say lose things, why lose hearing? You know, if somebody can help you so that you can hear conversations better, understand the grandkids and everything else, hey, go do it. Give her a call, 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology, serving you. Really nice lady. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Deanna and I were watching television last night, watching the news, and all of a sudden, here came another shocking, disgusting undercover video that was released regarding the sickening responses from so-called doctors and Planned Parenthood. The sale of baby parts and the talking on the video, and it makes me sick, and almost I don't want to even encumber you with some of the verbiage, but they were talking about cutting off the baby's head and making sure that the eyes were closed so that that's how they referred it, it didn't look at you. I lost it. I can't imagine a doctor, any doctor, that has pledged his life and service to medicine and the Hippocratic Oath could have such a cavalier, revolting attitude about babies and their organs, their legs, their arms, their heads. I just don't understand. Is this where we're headed as a country when we talk to like the Alliance Defending Freedom and Kerry Kupek and the callousness that is being shown by these doctors? And again, I put that in question marks. Doctors? With their attitude about these babies? These are human beings. And they treat them like they're discarded pork chops. It's so pathetic. Planned Parenthood, I mean this when I say this, damn you. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Headed up by Nick Greenwell, physical therapist, and all the physical therapists right there. Wow, do they do a job of helping you get back to being you. Number to call for an appointment, 678-1191. 678-1191. Exercises, physical therapy, hydrotherapy pool with the treadmill. I mean, they know all of it to get you back to being you. And tomorrow we're going to have Nick on the air talking about this too. Call them for an appointment. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 678-1191. You call today. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Zeb. I'm calling one more time to tell you everything you say about Nick and the therapy unit over there is true. I was over there just yesterday, and they are terrific.
Well, they're very professional, and I'm not going to turn it into a paid advertisement for them, but I'm just going to say it from the heart. They've helped me. They've helped a lot of my friends. They know everything, and the tagline is they can help you get back to being you. I don't like walking around hurting. I don't like sitting in a chair and figuring out how I'm going to get out of the chair. They can really help.
Well, yeah, and I'm sorry if I pitched them when I shouldn't have. But
No, that's fine.
You know, anyway, okay.
No, I'll tell you something, and never, ever shirk from calling in and paying tribute to one of my great sponsors, and I'll tell you why. Without them and without their support, I wouldn't be here, and I only accept the cream of the crop, and I appreciate your remarks more than you know. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, sir. God bless. Calls are welcome, 436-2244. 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call, and we'll talk about anything that we've mentioned so far or even something different. And I've got a story coming up about a former Navy SEAL and now currently an author, and this is going to make you, I think a little bit. So stay tuned for that. Josh Mays, J&W Horseshoeing. By golly, he's got a special for the month of August, and you better hurry and give him a call. $20 trimming on old paint. Yeah, $20 only for trimming on old paint and your horses, from draft horses to ponies. You better get a hold of him right now. 432-2260 or 410-1837. J&W Horseshoeing, $20 trimming job on your horses till the end of August. You get a hold of them today. All right, give me a call. Come on, don't be waiting on the line. Here's something that I think is very, very important, and I saw the interview with this guy this morning. His name is Clint Emerson. And as I said, he's a former Navy SEAL and author. And basically, the conversation was about his book and about being prepared. And this man said that after what had happened over in France on that train where the 3 Americans subdued that heinous would-be killer and assassin that was absolutely to shoot up the entire train, and Lord only knows how many people he might or may have killed. This man, Clint Emerson, said this morning that you and I must be able to do something if it calls for us to do something at the drop of a hat. We don't know what's going to happen. We could be sitting in a theater. We could be sitting at a baseball or football game or a basketball game. We could be at an airport. We could be at a meeting. We don't know, but somebody has got to spring into action and know what to do. Somebody has to rehearse in their mind different scenarios and be prepared to leap up and challenge evil. We'll tell you more in a minute. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. Yeah, you know, it's interesting. There's only one religious theological group that's causing all of these terrorist acts around the world. It's called Islam. And, of course, I guess you heard, maybe you've already discussed, about Curt Schilling.
I just had it on the air.
And it's just unbelievable, you know, the political correctness. But I've got something here that I think you would find real interesting from Harry Truman, okay? This is to Douglas MacArthur after MacArthur called, I won't read what MacArthur said about the Japanese. This was at the time of surrender. But anyway, Harry Truman, President Truman, as I said, he said, political correctness is a doctrine recently fostered by delusional, illogical minority and promoted by a sick mainstream media, which holds forth the proposition that it is entirely possible to pick up a piece of manure by the clean end.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that about sums it up. But, you know, there's, you know, a lot of people don't get the paper today, but there's a soldier, first class Charles Matlin, is being forced from the Army, U.S. Army, by shoving an Afghan local police commander after the Afghan commander admitted to a child rape and tried to laugh off the rape as not being a big deal before he was being shoved to the ground by Sergeant and his special ops commander, who has since left the service. Of course, now Obama's pushing to get this guy out of there, and he hates the military, he hates his country, and we need to contact our senators and our representative and stop this nonsense, because, you know, this is the kind of stuff. The guy was, and the article says, the rapist unfortunately was not injured. And President Obama's military chain of command could step in and save this decorated Special Forces soldier's career, but
I absolutely... Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let me comment. I had that story on the air. And for this man, our serviceman, our American, that has to go through possibly a dishonorable discharge because he did something that was right. He was right. This other vile vermin that had taken out and raped a young man while the mother was standing by crying and couldn't do anything about it, it was absolutely worthy of beating this other man senseless. And for him, our American soldier, to be drummed out of the service for doing what was right, I find that appalling.
Well, yeah, absolutely. The article ends here. Keep in mind that the Muslim men and culture often have different standards for sex with children, brutality toward women than American moral standards and laws dictate. And now we're being forced to absorb men of this culture, they're already here, into the Magic Valley. Where's the outrage from our elected officials? We only have one representative and one senator attend. All the public meetings have been held today.
I'll tell you what it is. Wait a minute.
And the social media.
Wait a minute.
And this group, to end the refugee center. By the way, we're going to need probably around 3,800 signatures on a petition. Might as well announce that now. It was in the paper, and I was quite aware of this. You know, in order to get on the ballot to end the refugee program. And I think we'll be able to get those signatures quite readily.
I hope so. Adrian, wait a minute. Whoa, stop. I've got to interrupt you. You can't just keep going because I've got time constraints. I am absolutely going to support it. Send me the information on the signatures. Send me the information on the petition. I will push it on this program. I'm adamantly in favor of what you're talking about, and I've got a commercial break. I've got to get in here. So thank you very much for your call, and we'll follow up on it.
The petition hasn't been issued yet. It's being reviewed by the county. It'll only affect I think Twin Falls County, because that's where it'll affect Twin Falls County and Jerome counties, because those are the two that counties are tied in.
Okay. All right.
So that's the deal. But anyway, I'll let you go. But people, we need to be concerned about this and get this refugee thing stopped before it really becomes a real crisis here in this area.
Absolutely, and I appreciate your remarks on that. And when this petition becomes more pronounced and we hear more about it, I will further it on the air. I had Rick Martin on the program the other day with a group of concerned citizens that are very, very concerned about the refugee center and what it's turned into at CSI. And I am going to support them. And as far as my comments to the Times News and their editorial staff, back off in calling people names that are concerned citizens and possibly have a lot more knowledge about this situation than you do. You don't refer to state representatives as doofus and other people that agree with the senator and checking out the information as doofus. Back off, Times News, and you might be the beneficiary of better knowledge if you take the time to understand the situation. Berry Equipment and Rental, 3 locations to serve you, and they are Twin Falls, Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. They have the equipment to get the job done right. Whether it's the Bobcat skid steer loaders, I want to get one of those, and I want to just learn how to drive them. I'll tell you what, they can get the job done for you, and they've got a great, massive display and assortment of what you need right there at the 3 locations I mentioned a moment ago. Store hours, Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 5:30, Saturday 8 to 5, closed on Sundays. They can help you with the equipment you need, whether you're purchasing or leasing. Berry Equipment and Rental, Twin Falls, Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Caller, good morning, you're on the air.
Yes, Zeb, I don't know if you heard about Curt Schilling.
I just had it on the air earlier this morning. You should have been listening. Now you owe me money. You have to pay a fine for not paying attention. Send your check, money order, or your computer cash credit card to my address.
Okay. I just, you can't even have an opinion or they're going to shut you up. And you wonder if these people think at all past what political correctness dictates. And you say to yourself, Curt Schilling is a father, a principled man. He might be a Christian.
He is.
And he has, comparing radical Islam to Nazis is... It's very comparable.
Well, wait a minute. Stop right there. What did he say that was wrong in the tweet when he compared radical Islam with the onslaught of what happened in Nazi Germany? He didn't say anything wrong. And besides that, he's got a right to his own opinion. Now, it was a tweet. It wasn't taped and broadcast like the Chris Carter remarks about rookies finding a fall guy so they can break the law. And absolutely, I've lost my respect for ESPN because they're mollycoddling people to the point where, we don't want to make any waves with the Muslims. We don't want to make any waves with Islam. And it's cowardice. It's absolute cowardice.
Oh, yeah. And the thing of it is it's meant to be an example. In other words, by gosh, if you speak up, you're going to get swatted down. You better keep your mouth shut. You realize that we're going to all do what's supposed to be done here. Nobody's going to stand up and have an opinion. No free speech in America.
Absolutely. And little by little, the bad element, the evil in our society is winning. I mean, Curt Schilling, in my opinion, did not say anything wrong. He did not say anything that needs to be apologized for. And yet he gets suspended. And at the same time, Chris Carter, and I don't know if you heard his remarks or not, I looked at my wife and I said, what an absolute idiot for him to stand up in front of a bunch of rookies and basically teach them how to get out of trouble with a fall guy and break the rules so they can continue to play football. That was absolutely insane.
It is, and the thing of it is I didn't hear that comment from Chris Carter I didn't
did.
hear that part.
I did.
But I just know this. It's just like when they pressure you to fall in line and be politically correct. See, you see, it just can't continue. And thank God Donald Trump is saying what he says, and then when they try to interrupt him, the media, he just shuts them down, including Bill O'Reilly. And so it gives us a shot in the arm. And, if nothing else, we feel better a little for at least one day.
All right, Randy, I always appreciate your comments, and I appreciate your call this morning. Thank you, sir.
You bet.
All right. Hey, weather time, and then I'll take some more of your calls. My goodness, I looked at the clock, and I said, uh-oh. Weather is brought to you this hour by Mad River Laser at 502 East Street in Rupert, and you need to get in there. You need to get in there and go sit on one of the stools and just talk to Nicole and the rest of the folks. If you need something to promote your business, whether it's business cards, caps, jackets, T-shirts, sweatshirts, whatever, they are second to none. They are the best. I'm telling you, get in there and just learn more about their business. They're located right on the square in Rupert, Mad River Laser. Please stop in and better promote your business today. Here's the weather with Gina.
Here's your weather forecast as we do make our way through the work week. Partly cloudy for today, a little bit on the breezy side. Out of the southeast, right around 12 miles an hour. Expect a high of 85 for today. Tonight, low 57. Tomorrow, pretty much the same as today, but as we work our way towards the weekend, it is going to be a little bit warmer. By Friday, looks like sunny skies, high of 90. However, for the weekend, winds are going to be remaining steady out of the west, and looks like partly cloudy skies. Highs are going to be in the low to mid-80s. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Range.
Very well done, Gina. Thank you very much. And brought to you by some wonderful people. I really like their business. Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. You stop over and see them today. Calls are welcome. Come on. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Really think about this. What I was referring to a little bit ago about Clint Emerson, and we must be able to do something in an emergency. In an emergency. Those three Americans jumped in front of everybody else. What's so disgusting about that story over in France was that the conductors, the train personnel, they ran and hid. And our American boys jumped into the fray and stopped it. God bless them. But we have to be able to think about different scenarios. We have to think what we would do. We have to maybe even consider, where are places that I can hide? Where can I hide my family? How can I be on the offense and take these people out? Maybe talking to others around you. You have to be prepared. We have talked about this many times on my program. We've talked about sitting in airports and observing people. And if you see something that's not normal, go to the gate. Let them know. Talk to the airline personnel. I don't care if they think you're a wacko. You shouldn't either. Your safety and security and everybody else's is at stake. Who cares what they think? They're paid employees. Kind of reach out and play AT&T with them and say, hey, look, pay attention to what I'm telling you. I want that checked out. You've got to be forceful. You've got to be aggressive. And you've got to be safe. And I think every single person should rehearse in their mind different scenarios. You might laugh at that, but it's true. Okay, if I'm here and this happens, what am I going to do? Are you going to sit there and take it? Or are you going to go on the offense and not only try to protect you, but your family and others? You need to know what you can do. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. By the way, there is a new movie out, and it goes along with my philosophy, and my thinking and my upbringing. And the new movie is called The War Room. And it's basically about turning our lives over to prayer, the power of prayer. And hold on, caller, I'll be right there, I promise. There have been those in the past that have called and criticized, and they said, well, we don't want to hear anything about church or Christianity on your program. If we wanted to hear that, we'd turn on a religious station. Well, that's fine. That's fine. I'm not going to change my ways, ever. And if I want to have a prayer on my radio program, I'm going to do it. If I want to have a pastor on my radio program or a man of faith on my program, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to be politically correct for those that don't like that. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, Hoss, this is the chief.
Yeah, buddy.
How you doing?
Good. Go. I've only got a couple of minutes. Go ahead fast.
All right, I'll try to keep it together when you rush me, but you know, the thing is this is the 21st century, and I really believe that the only way to survive with the terrorist thing, and they emptied out these mental institutions, and unfortunately some of these people aren't stable, and it's not their fault if they're schizophrenic or they have some issues that aren't being taken care of. So these things are going to happen. And banning the concealed carry and some of this stuff doesn't make any sense, because it's not going to stop. And it's like that 11-year-old girl that was the skeet shooting champion. And,
yes.
Two terrorists bona fide bad guys, broke into the house, and she blew them all over the front yard, you know.
I absolutely agree. I agree. And, you know, there you bring up a good point, Chief, and it's not only your responsibility, it's your responsibility to teach others how to be responsible and be aware and be cognizant and know what to do in a possible situation. I think it's important for all of us.
Well, this Alex Jones on radio K-Bar at night, sometimes I think he's a little bit overboard on the conspiracy theories and all these things that are coming up, but he's saying that underneath all this, there is a big push to get our guns.
Oh, absolutely. 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 I agree with everything you just said, and it's not just under the table. It's being very first and foremost on a lot of politicians' mind that are led by the loony left, and it's going to get a lot worse in the next 513 days that Obama still has left in office.
I had one more point. You know, that veteran up there in northern Idaho, they tried to take his guns. I guess part of this is they're going to go after the people that are on Social Security or disabled because of that Brady law. There's some articles in there, and they're going to use that to come and, because you're disabled, you're not capable of taking care of your weapons and your firearms, and they're going to take them.
Yeah, or hold your money.
And it's going to be a big deal because, you know, there's a lot of veterans that are disabled, and they're going to band together, and people like me and you, we're going to fight.
Yeah, absolutely, and nobody should kowtow to the government and their absolutely criminal ways of saying, well, you know, now look, either you turn your guns and ammunition in, or you might not see that monthly check for your benefits. That is absolutely the time that all of us need to band together and say, enough is enough. Chief, I got to go. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Hey, buddy, take it easy.
All right, take care. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations. Each and every location, super nice people and service-oriented. Don't forget they've got many of their top popular passenger car and light truck tires on sale. Excuse me, like the Strategy tire. Year-round traction, 60,000-mile warranty. Ooh, baby, that's a good one. And don't forget, too, the best in brake service. They've got professionally trained technicians, premium quality parts. All of this, plus front-end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, it's all there for you and and your safe driving. You stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, John on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and Randy, the old Seahawk fan, on Overland in Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. By the way, a quick note, and I'm very concerned about CNN and some of the ways that they're trying to set up the next debate on television with the GOP candidates. They're trying to say, this morning I heard, that they might figure out that Carly Fiorina is not eligible to be a part of the top 10 or the next tier of having her on with the other candidates. And I'm saying that is ridiculous. They're using some kind of a stupid, asinine formula of saying, well, in this poll she was here, and in this poll she was there, and combined we just don't feel she has the number. Listen, Carly Fiorina is probably the best spokesperson of any and all of them. And I certainly hope the loony liberals that run that network understand that they better not try to chase her out of that next debate. Carly Fiorina deserves a position at the podium. Enough said. We're going to take a little break right now that I've teed everybody off in some way, shape, or form. And we're going to be back in about 6 minutes with Dave Vigo from Indianapolis, Indiana. And then at 9:30, hopefully, a very, very short, quick, and precise interview with United States Senator Mike Crapo. Don't go away. I'll be right back. Oh, good morning. Hour number 2, Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell, and brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers, too, including Valleywide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert, everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch, and our friends at Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always sure to disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, every free man. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal.
Western Waste Services, they'll put you on the route service and come and get your garbage. It's gone. It's out of there. And don't forget, too, all the porta potties for the events like weddings, fairs, rodeos, company picnics, family reunions, class reunions. The porta potties, very important. So you check it out today. Give them a call at 734-6969. Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Absolutely. Hey, by the way, Ted's Diesel and Electric is moving to 635 21st Street in Hayburn on El Fresco Road. Doug Martin, good old boy, can rebuild starters, alternators, and generators, and also sells brand new. Ted's Diesel and Electric, moving to 635 21st Street in Hayburn. You know, when we talk about all of our great sponsors and advertisers, all of a sudden the conversation turns around to some people that I just absolutely, I want you to know about them and remember their number, because they are there to help you when there's the passing of a loved one. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, and the number right off the bat to tell you, 436-5636. 436-5636, with Joel Heward, his family, his staff, always treating you with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Please remember to call them. They can help you, and if you can't travel to their office, they can come to the rural towns and churches to help you with the arrangements. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, 436-5636. Let's go to the phone lines right now, and I want to say a good morning to a gentleman that has been a great friend of this program. And in the last couple of days, he came out with his new blog, and I think it's one of the best he's ever written. And we're going to have him on the air right now from Indianapolis, Indiana, Dave Vigo. Good morning, Dave. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. I'm fine. How are you doing?
Not too bad. I got to tell you that the Trump and the DREAM Act, the truth behind the nightmare, was absolutely spot on. And I'm going to let you have the honors of explaining the basic theme of this latest blog, because I really think you hit a home run on this one.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And, I've actually wrote this blog back in 2010, and I've rewritten it. And I did because Trump, as he is doing his tour around the country and talking to people, has brought out several things that I think are important to revitalizing and making America great again, like he says. And, one of the big points is the immigration issue. And because, as I've talked about many times and written about in other blogs, it's a security problem. People coming across the border that terrorists and that want to hurt America. But it's also costing American jobs. It's taking down our economy. It's adding to our national debt. And Trump gets all that. And he also understands that it's reducing wages across the country and reducing jobs. And I like his matter-of-fact, plain speech where he just comes out and tells it like it is. And, he's been very outspoken, no holds barred, and that's what we need in candidates that are running for the president of this country, and that's what we need in the politicians. And he's even polished it up, Zeb, I think. He's, from the very beginning when, he basically said, herd them all back, and, he was not real kind in his words. He's really improved it, and he's doing a great job with it. And he's hitting on the points. Now, he wants to build a wall. I don't think we can build a wall because, number one, they'll find a way to tunnel under it or do other things. What I think we need to do is put the American Armed Forces in charge of it and let them handle it, and I'll guarantee you they'll shut it down. But on the other things, as far as we've got to, we can't round up these people and just send them back. We got to close the borders, and then we got to give these people a chance to register with this country and become legally through our current laws and systems. We don't need new laws, and we need to, the ones that are bad people that don't pass background checks, that we know are doing things like drugs and other activities, then they can be shipped out. But the big thing is when you do something like this, you'll see mass exodus from the very beginning, because all the bad people will try and get back over that border as quick as they can before they're caught. And I think Trump, he's on the right track with this stuff. And I think if we do these things that I talk about in this blog, and somebody like Trump as president can make sure it's happened, we're going to see a bright future for America.
I've got so many questions this morning regarding your blog and also some other inserts of what's going on in the news with Trump. And let me just say this, and you can be argumentative against me if you'd like. I think that what Donald Trump is doing, even though some people don't realize it, especially the loony left, he has raised the standard of thought with all the GOP nominee possibilities. In other words, what he's doing is forcing them to get on a wagon and stand up and talk about the same issue that he's talking about, or they're going to be left in the dust. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He's the backbone, and I talk about that in the blog, is that he's showing a spine that the other ones haven't shown yet, and he's forcing them to show some spine. Now, the concern about that, Zeb, is that only for show? And would they really do that if they were elected? The thing about Trump is, he will do it.
I agree with that. Now, I want to be more specific about another problem that has come up with Donald Trump's campaign and himself personally, and that was the flap with Fox News anchor person on her show, Megyn Kelly. Now, I listened to the debate that night, David, and quite frankly, I thought her question was out of line. I thought her question was away from anything presidential. I thought it was information that was a little bit shady at best. I didn't like the question, regardless of who she would have addressed in that question. And there was a little war between he and Megan Trump. And now the Fox News Network has got involved. Mr. Ailes, Roger Ailes, is involved in condemning Trump. And it seems like every single network, every single anchor, every single news program is doing their darndest to belittle, bemoan, and demonize him. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think her questions were out of line, too, and especially at the very beginning. I mean, obviously she was trying to make a point and trying to expose him and belittle him, and I don't think that's what their job is. I think their job is to find out what these people are really about, and, Trump has come back at her, obviously, and made some comments about her. And on his side of it, if I was him, I'd just let it lay alone.
Yeah, I agree.
Because he really doesn't need the feedback off of it. And I thought it was interesting that Fox probably knew that Megyn Kelly was wrong, because did you notice she took a 10-day vacation after that?
It was funny.
It was off the air, and I think Fox did that on purpose, because I think they realized that she was out of line.
Yeah.
And if I was Trump at this point, that's a minor issue. Let's move on to the big issues.
But, in your blog, and I want to go back to the very beginning that you used as an outtake at the beginning of the blog, and I want to read it. Donald Trump, in his very plain, outspoken, no-holds-barred way, has exposed the failures of the American president, as well as the lack of backbone displayed by the current Republican majority due to their failure to expose and reverse the president's let me see what that programs. That word was cut off. I'm sorry. Right there, you hit the key of what I want to talk about this morning. I was so ecstatic when the Republicans gained all those seats. I thought, now they can show some John Wayne attitude. Now they can start leading the American public. Now they can start presenting their values. They didn't do it. They dropped the ball, and they're a bunch of cowards.
Zeb, you're right, and I have talked about, again, I've written about this and talked about this in my blogs, is they have the majority, they have the opportunity to go after the president and put him on the defensive, by them going on the offense and exposing him and, for the things he's done wrong and what's going on in Iran and this thing with the executive amnesty order and all that kind of stuff, and get this stuff thrown out, go after Obamacare, and, go hard after the national debt and start reducing costs across this country and the size of government, and, entitlement programs and welfare programs that are keeping people from being great people. And what they've done is they've taken the same tact as the liberals. Well, we don't want to do anything we want to be politically correct, we want to be nice guys, and we want to make sure we offer things to people so they vote for us in the next election. And that's what this is all about. They don't get the fact that most Americans, even those people that are on welfare and other things, realize we're going in the wrong direction and we need to turn this country around.
David, back in your area, in Indianapolis, Indiana, and around the surrounding area, what does political correctness mean back there? Are people really adhering to not saying anchor babies, not saying illegal aliens, not doing or participating in certain things for fear that they might offend somebody? Is that really what our society's coming to? What's it like back there?
Well, I see that everywhere, Zeb, whether it's here or when I travel. People are afraid that they're going to offend somebody. And, we have to be a society that we're upfront. Now, I do think we need to be professional about it, and I think Trump can, do a little bit more on that end. But, and I think he's doing more. I'm seeing him, like I say, polish it up. We can't sit back and just because we talk about illegals, they are illegals. They came here illegally. That's what they are. And we need to get over this stuff and move on as a country. And Zeb, I think the majority of people do. But we've got these groups of people out there, the far left and the unions and some of these other people that are radical in different areas that know that if they go out and they intimidate people and throw out misinformation and that, most people will, step back and say, okay, we won't do anything to offend you, because they're bullies. And I went through this with the SEIU. I understand it. I understand their tactics. And I talk about that in the blog. That's exactly what's going on here. These people are not for the American people. They are for their own self-interest.
Absolutely. I was really interested and read with great fervor the part of your blog that talked about is Australia. I think you should highlight that part right now and explain to my audience exactly what happens in the nation of Australia.
Well, and I got this from a gentleman that has read my book. He tries to listen on radio shows. He lives up in Canada, and he sends me emails all the time and about his thoughts and friends of his thoughts that about that the United States is going in the hole. It's going downhill, and it's going to be destroyed. And he's concerned about that because he thinks America is a great country, and we need to step up and wake up about it. And he saw something on TV up there where there's in Australia, if you don't come into the nation legally, then you will never ever get citizenship there. In other words, you have to come in legally, and the Australians aren't going to put up with this bleeding heart crowd and all that kind of stuff, and they're going to call them illegals because that's what they are. So Australian, they're cleaning things up. They realize that this is hurting their country and destroying it.
All right, now I want to talk to you a little bit about business. Nobody would know business better than you, entrepreneur and hiring many, many, many people. Nabisco, Ford are looking at moving plants to Mexico, and American citizens, American workers are going to be out of work. And our president, the illustrious Barack Obama, says and does nothing to basically try to keep business here in the United States. What is going on here?
Well, Zeb, taking a step back, this president and the people that are behind him are all about a world organization, and they don't believe there should be a United States or a Mexico. They think this all ought to be a world organization controlled by people like them. And that's what they're trying to achieve, and that's why they're saying, come on, everybody come into our country and, take advantage of who we are, and we'll ship stuff over to you and give you jobs over there and that. Instead of what we ought to be doing is that we ought to be cleaning up our country, closing our borders, because we can't take care of everybody in the world. And what we should be doing is going to these other countries and help them develop and become better countries and take care of their people and understand that the capitalist free market system works.
Absolutely. We have a caller with a quick question. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air fast.
Yeah, good morning. It's come to my attention, if we enforce the immigration laws that are already on there, in 1940, this before World War II, there was the Alien Registration Act of 1940. That may not be but I'd like your guest to comment about that, because that requires everybody with an alien, and they use the term alien, to register between August 27th and December 22nd. Every year.
All right.
If you were here on a green card or whatever.
I'll have him comment over the air.
Comment about that, or if he's not aware of it, to research it out.
I will. I'll have him comment over the air. Dave, please, if you'd respond.
Well, yeah, our laws and the laws have been enacted back a long time ago, like he talked about, require all this, and they are suitable. And I mentioned this in my blog. We don't need new laws. We have the laws. What we need is a government that will enforce them, and not just people that came in and they have to go in and register with the government and all of those things. But what we have to do is get businesses to obey the laws too, because we got businesses that are hiring these people coming across the border and paying them under the table. In most cases, they're making way less than minimum wage, and these businesses aren't having to pay for payroll taxes because they're in most cases paying them as independent contractors. So there's no FICA, FUTA, SUTA. Of course, there's no income taxes or anything like that. And so these people are being abused and used. The revenues are not being picked up by the government because these companies aren't paying them. And on top of that, legitimate businesses like us across the country are suffering because we have to compete with these people. We have to keep wages lower. We have to keep jobs down. This stuff is hurting America, and I believe this president wants that to happen.
I do too. Dave, wouldn't you like to be a fly on the wall in the Oval Office and know what's going on in conversations between Obama and Biden? Will he run? Is he going to have to pick up all the slack that Hillary's caused because she might end up with felony charges? What are your thoughts on all that's going on in the Democratic Party?
I think they're in a big mess, and I think it's time for the Republicans to take advantage of that. Hillary, I believe, as I've said before, I think that she's going to implode, and then you're going to look at maybe Elizabeth Warren or Biden coming in, because I don't think Bernie Sanders is he got a leg to stand on. He's got some people cheering for him up there in a very liberal area, but there's a lot of people that really understand what he's all about, and he's a communist, and they really don't want him. I think we're going to see maybe a ticket of Biden and Elizabeth Warren come out of this thing, which could be interesting. I don't think Biden has the wherewithal. But Elizabeth Warren, I don't know if you realize this, she's from Oklahoma, and she was a conservative for many years before she moved to the East Coast and went to law school out there and became an attorney. She was married, divorced, and married a guy that was liberal, and that kind of changed her outlook. But here's the other interesting thing about her. Do you know her dad was a janitor? I mean, he was what I started out to be, starting my company, a janitor. And that she understands all the good things that should happen. I hope she wakes up.
Yeah, but she's also an American Indian, and years ago she used to be on the Howdy Doody show as Miss Princess Winter, Fall, Summer, Spring. Remember her?
I guess I don't remember that.
Okay, well, I'm older than you, and it was a joke about how she said she was...
She was conservative for many years.
Right.
She gets it, and I'm hoping she wakes up to the facts.
Well, she's come out and had some blatant lies that have been exposed, and that's why I made the joke about her Indian heritage. And I'm really concerned about what's going to happen with Hillary. Give me a short answer on this. Do you think that the Clinton power, the Clinton regime, can still override this felony and this illegality with these emails and all the hiding? Can she still survive this, or do you think it's just a matter of a few days or weeks before she's going to have to bow out?
I think it's a matter of time before she's going to have to bow out, but I think the Republican Party is going to have to step up and keep the pressure on to have her investigated and go after her. And it just seems like, Zeb, that they're afraid to do that because they want to be nice guys. There's a few of them like Trey Gowdy that will go after him. We need more people like him in the Republican Party, especially at the top, that are willing to go after and expose people like Clinton. But I think it's going to get to her.
All right, I want to tell you that this is one of, like I said, the best blogs I've ever read, and you did a fantastic job. Dave Bego, author of The Devil at My Doorstep, The Devil at Our Doorstep, and great businessman. Dave, God's blessings to you. Have a wonderful week, and we'll look forward to next week on the program.
Well, thank you very much, and thanks. And I hope people go out and read the blog and pass it on to other people, because it's the truth and it's what we need to do for this country.
All right, my friend. Have a great week. Thank you so much. Dave Bego, Indianapolis, Indiana. And thank you very much. Hey, it's back to school. Yes, it is. It's back to school. And the Mayfair Cellar Men's Shop has everything you need to go back to school in style. Hey, for this whole month of August, you better hurry. It's almost over. You can take 25 to 50% off T-shirts, jeans, shorts, hoodies, wallets, and backpacks. And they've got all the brand names there, DC, Quicksilver, and Lucky Brand. Oh, it's been locally owned and operated for over 50 years in downtown Burley. So you stop in and see them today. The Cellar Men's Shop at 1258 Overland Avenue in Burley. Mighty fine folks serving you. Thank you. I want to also remind you that, boy, oh boy, I know a place where the fun is sold. I know a place where the fun is sold, and that happens to be Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and Heyburn. Number to call, 436-4771. Yes, sir, they've got all the ATVs. Yes, sir, all the different colors, shapes, and sizes. They've got all the accessories, and they got all the people there with the knowledge to help you. Oh, boy, sharp people, and a great service department. If you have a problem, need it fixed, they can handle the job. So, there it is, where the fun is sold. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and Heyburn. You stop in and see those great folks today. By the way, I want to remind you, tonight's the team are open at the Jerome County Fair. And Jerome County Fairgrounds, I should say. And sign up at 6:30, rope at 7. Yes, it has reverted back to the original time. Sign up at 6:30, rope at 7 tonight at the Jerome County Fairgrounds. And, of course, Dave Zanino, our dear friend, going to put that roping on. So everybody try to be there tonight, Jerome County Fairgrounds. Real quick, we are expecting a call from United States Senator Mike Crapo any moment, and hopefully get him on the air. While I'm waiting for the word from Wheels over at our main studio, I want to remind you that Russell Smith, our dear friend, lunch buncher, and just absolutely our hero, I have his address up at the Idaho State Veterans Home, and if you have a pencil, take it down. We'll also try to blog it on our Facebook page, etc. 1957 Alvin Ricken Drive, Room 70 in Pocatello, 83201. Send him a card, excuse me, send him a notice of well wishes. Russell Smith, our hero, up at the Idaho State Veterans Home in Pocatello. Really a good guy. Pardon me for the frog in my throat. A little bit of hay fever this morning. As, again, we're waiting patiently for the senator to give us a call, and Wheels just yell at me when he comes in on the phone line, if you would. While we're waiting, I also want to remind you about Cameron and Siemens Insurance, life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and more for your protection, family protection, and business protection. They can help you. Very accessible and devoted to serving other people. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. The number to call, 436-4424. You stop in or give them a call today. Once again, we're waiting patiently for United States Senator Mike Crapo to call us on the program this morning. I've got a lot of issues I want to bring up to him. And while I'm waiting for him to call, I will take some outside calls. So give me a jingle on the landline, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Deanne, we lost him. Do you have any idea where he is? My wife just walked in with a questioning look on her face like, where's the senator? I wished I knew. You might get a hold of Lindsay there if you would, Deanne. I appreciate that. Okay, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. A lot of comments yesterday in regards to having new Idaho State Senator Kelly Anthon on our program. Lots of comments, all of them very, very positive. And Kelly, if you're listening this morning, I think you hit a home run right out of the park, and a lot of people had a chance to kind of get to know you, get to know your thoughts on various issues, and learn to respect you and what you're going to try to do for the state. And again, many, many callers called after the show and said, wow, pretty impressed with the new Idaho Senator, Kelly Anthon, and thank you very much. All right, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. This is the part of my job that I don't care for at all, because we have lost control of if somebody is going to call in. And I wait patiently sitting here looking at the phone lines, and all of a sudden I hear wheels on the other end say...
Mike Crapo is on the phone.
Very well done. Thank you very much. With us right now, United States Senator Mike Crapo, and we had a chance to visit with him about 30 days ago when he was going on his little tour of the Magic Valley and taking questions and answers from a lot of his constituents. Good morning, Senator. How are you today?
I'm doing well, Zeb. Good morning. I'm in a car on the freeway, so I apologize if the voice quality is a little bit tough.
All right, I'm going to ask you some very poignant questions, and I respect you, Mike, because you've never shirked your duty as far as giving us straight answers. Here's the first one. Donald Trump.
Answer your question.
All right, sir. Donald Trump is not weakening. Polls show him at 30% or more. If he gets the nomination for the presidency of the GOP leadership, can you and will you support him and his immigration policies?
Yes. If he wins the nomination, I will be glad to support him. And by the way, I'll say that about any one of the Republican candidates right now. When I watched the Republican debate the other night, the thing that impressed me most about the entire debate was that when it was over, I thought that we had a very deep bench, a lot of really strong candidates. But the short answer to your question is yes.
Mike, he's come out with some things that a lot of people call outlandish, and I have looked and studied what he said. And, it's time for America to get tough for Americans and not always for the other side, not always cater to those that are coming in illegally or others from other countries. We have to protect our taxpayers, and I think Mr. Trump is onto something, that we have to protect Americans first.
Yeah, well, Donald Trump is touching a chord with people all across America right now, and I don't think that, a lot of people feel like he is just going to be a short-term candidate, a flash in the pan, if you will, and that finally he will fade. I'm not convinced at all that that's the case. From what I've seen going across Idaho and frankly in my meetings with people across the country, in all socioeconomic parts of the society in the United States, there are people who think that, just like you just said, that he is saying it like it is. People want to have someone who will just, not use a teleprompter, not be handled by talking points, and just say it like it is. And I think it's something that people across the country feel is quite refreshing.
Mike, many of my listeners and your constituents are very unhappy with the Republican Party, saying that the GOP is not showing the nerve and the backbone or the John Wayne attitude on many issues, and they're just going along to get along. What are your thoughts?
Well, I disagree with that, and let me explain why. As you know, we do not have enough votes to defeat a filibuster or a presidential veto yet. But in this year, we have had 175 votes on important issues, and that compares to just 12 in all of the last Congress. So when we took control of the Senate, we totally turned it around, and you name the issue, we've been voting on it. And when you talk about spending, we adopted a budget. The first time that Congress has adopted a budget in 7 years, and our budget balances. Now, I'll admit, it takes 10 years to balance, and I would have balanced faster, but the fact is that we are moving forward, and you will see in September or early October that there will be a huge fight between those of us who want to control the spending and the president and his allies who want to blow out the spending, because right now we have put together a set of appropriations bills to deal with the government spending that sticks to our balanced budget. And you're going to see the president try to defeat that in September. Anyway, my point is the fight is on. And although I share the frustration that we don't have a president who will sign the bills, and we don't yet have enough votes in the Senate to be able to defeat filibusters, the fight is engaged, and I think we're making progress.
Mike, when you talk about progress, I've got to go right now to a couple of issues that are scaring me and many of my listeners, and that, of course, is the Iranian nuclear deal. I've read most of it. I just absolutely think it's horrendous. I think it's not anything for the United States or our ally Israel, and if it's voted down by the Democrats and the Republicans, Obama said he would override it. How afraid are you about the putting in place of that Iranian nuclear deal?
Well, first of all, I'm absolutely opposed to it. I am very worried about it. And then let me fill in a little detail there. You are right. The president swore that he would not let Iran get access to a nuclear weapon and that he would put a verification system in place that would be ironclad to be able to assure, to give America the ability to assure that Iran was not constructing a nuclear weapon. Instead, he has essentially agreed to made an agreement that assures that Iran will ultimately get a nuclear weapon. The timing depends on whether Iran honors the agreement, but even if Iran honors the agreement, it'll get a nuclear weapon a little over a decade from now. And there's virtually no United States participation in any enforcement regime. And what we're finding out is that the United Nations enforcement or inspection regime is going to rely on the Iranians to provide the samples and the Iranians to provide the photographs. And we don't really have any kind of confidence that the inspection is going to work.
Mike, let me ask you another question in regards to the president. Where is he right now today in the last couple of weeks regarding our economy, regarding what happened with China devaluing their currency and our stock market crashing, and all the businesses are thinking about going to Mexico like Ford and Nabisco? Where is the president speaking out about keeping America economically alive and viable? Where is this man?
Well, I'll tell you, the president is saying, as his constant position, that the reason we have trouble is because we are not spending enough. I'll tell you, the president does not get it. He is out there today, and like I said, in September, he will be pushing this very aggressively. He's out there saying that we've got to borrow more money, spend more money, and stimulate the economy. And he's actually on the other side. He's on the wrong side of the issue. He's not only is he not out there speaking up about the need for us to protect and secure our economy, he's out there pouring fuel on the fire, saying that that those of us who are trying to control spending and keep the taxes low are hurting the economy. And so, like I said, you're going to see a tremendous battle in September, or it might spill into October, between the president and those of us who are saying, look at what's happening. I've been talking about this with you on your show for years. This national debt is totally out of control. We're at almost $19 trillion today. It's jeopardizing our national security. It's undercutting our economy, and we're starting to see the economic damage that it's causing to it.
Not only is it out of control, Mike, but another thing that's out of control right now is Obama's green energy program and the EPA that could very well sound a death knell to the progress here in America and any growth in the future. When in the world are people going to stand up and realize that this green energy is not going to work? It's not going to be economically viable for this country, not now, not even 50 years in the future. What are we going to do to stop the EPA?
Well, the first thing that we can do, and is being attempted now, is to defund some of the excessive EPA rules and regulations. Congress does have control over the funding, and we are focused on trying to defund the ability of the EPA and the president's initiatives to impose a number of these rules, which I agree with you, are outrageous. The president's takeover of all water in the United States, the EPA's carbon-based rules, and so forth. But you know what? I'm coming right back to that comment I made earlier. That effort to defund these abusive rules is going to be challenged and fought in September and late October as a part of the entire spending battle that we are going to be engaged in. Which brings up an interesting point, that this fight that I tell you is coming in September and October. It's not just over the levels of spending. As I said, it's a big part of the fight is the president's effort to blow out more spending. But another big part of the fight is that we have put a number of provisions in our appropriations bills that help to pull back on excessive or abusive government initiatives through the agencies, defunding or directing. And the president's going to fight to get those taken out of the budget as well. So the fight in September is critical on many, many fronts.
One last thought, Mike, and that regards Planned Parenthood and the possible defunding of Planned Parenthood. I'm sure you have seen some of the videos that have come out, the undercover videos. Last night I saw another new one, and I absolutely think that this United States is turning into a barbaristic society with no care of human life. I think I'm going to demand that Planned Parenthood be defunded. What are your thoughts?
I agree with that. In fact, that's one of those votes I told you we have had already this year. We have already voted to do that, and we will vote again because you're absolutely right. I don't see how anybody, whatever side people are on with regard to the abortion issue, I don't see how anybody can tolerate what is depicted in these videos. Literally, the manipulation of the bodies of babies as you are killing them in order to save their body parts and harvest their body parts and then sell them at a profit. It is an abhorrent practice. When we had the vote, by the way, we were attacked as being against women. And the argument that was made against us was that that the Planned Parenthood facilities provide health care to women who are not able to get health care through the traditional health care delivery mechanisms. And so what we did, and I think everybody in America should recognize it, is we transferred the $500 million that was allocated to Planned Parenthood to the community health centers across the United States. And that's the place where support for women's health care, for women who need a safety net, who cannot get access to health care, that's the best mechanism we've got in America, and it's a good mechanism to provide them the health care they need. There are 75 community health centers in Idaho. There's 3 Planned Parenthood facilities. So, those who try to turn this debate into an anti-woman debate are simply wrong. The fact is that what we were doing was transferring that funding away from an abhorrent practice and into a much more effective health care delivery system for the women who are not able to get access to health care in the United States.
Absolutely well stated. Our United States Senator from Idaho, Mike Crapo. Mike, have a blessed day. Please call us in the near future and come back on the program. God bless you, and thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you so much, Zeb, and I return all those kind comments to you. Thank you.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We tried to cram in as many questions about various things that are going on today to United States Senator Crapo talking about Donald Trump, his immigration policies, of which Mike Crapo said he supports. Also, we talked a little bit about the backbone, or quite frankly put, the guts of the Republican Party, along with Nabisco and Ford, moving plants to Mexico, his thoughts on that and the economy, and then also Obama's green energy and the stupidity of the EPA, and also Planned Parenthood. And I think he was very forthright and direct in answering those questions. Thank you again, United States Senator Mike Crapo. Appreciate your time on the program this morning. I know that I'll take this call, and then I'll do the weather forecast, so we'll stand by. I'll be right with you. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hi. I just want to say that I was impressed with Mike Crapo this time. He told us things that they're doing instead of just things that they ought to be doing.
That's a very good point, Lorna, and I appreciate your call on that because I've talked to Mike personally and privately at various functions and on the phone, and honestly, I think he is trying, and I think also it's honest to assume and say that he's a little bit disgruntled that others aren't as active on various subjects as he is.
Yes, but I was impressed this time. I'm glad you had him on.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and God bless. Have a wonderful day.
And you have a wonderful day also.
All right, thank you very much. I got to get the weather forecast on here real quick, and then we'll take some more calls. What did you think about Mike Crapo's stand on the issues this morning? I'd like to hear your comments. Right now it's time for the weather, and the weather is brought to you by one of my favorite places, Duck Uglies at 163 West Highway 30 in Burley. I'm telling you, great meals, family-oriented, and great entertainment. Oh, yes. Tonight they're going to have music by Tyler Buckman. I believe Tyler's going to be there tonight. And then don't forget Ned Carter. He's there on the weekends and everything. And on Saturday they got that pork roast special, just $10 a plate. I think that's going to go on again Saturday night. Oh, good food. Great entertainment at Duck Uglies, 163 West Highway 30 in Burley. And right now here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we do make our way through the work week. Partly cloudy for today, a little bit on the breezy side. Out of the southeast, right around 12 miles an hour. Expect a high of 85 for today. Tonight, low 57. Tomorrow, pretty much the same as today, but as we work our way towards the weekend, it is going to be a little bit warmer. By Friday, looks like sunny skies, high of 90. However, for the weekend, winds are going to be remaining steady out of the west, and looks like partly cloudy skies. Highs are going to be in the low to mid-80s. That's your weather forecast for Zev the Range.
No, I appreciate that, Gina. Thank you very much. Brought to you by Duck Uglies. I love that place. Great food. Nice people over there. 163 West Highway 30 in Burley. And I love the entertainment. I'll tell you, you can have a lot of fun at Duck Uglies in Burley. Calls are welcome and appreciated. Please give me a jingle at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587, and we'll talk about any subject you want to talk about this morning. Kind of an open forum for the rest of this half hour, so give me a jingle on the landline. Like to hear from you, please. While I have just a minute, I want to remind you real quick, every year for... Well, we'll take the call first. They kind of just shut me off there, so I'll say, good morning, caller. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fine again, Zeb. I'm glad to hear that Mike Crapo is backing Trump. Trump understands that the more power we give to these countries by sending businesses over to them, the less power we have. And I think this is the problem we have now, where China is powerful enough to control our economy.
I agree. Well, that's a given. I mean, what happens in China affects all of us. We're seeing that effect of the devaluation of their currency, how it's affected our stock market, how it's affected our exports, imports, everything. You're 100% spot on, and it's good to hear from you again. God bless you, Tony. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, sir. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, did you happen to see that little bit of an exchange between Trump and the Univision reporter? Have you seen that?
Yeah, I commented on it right away this morning, and it was in my notes right away in the first hour. And I watched it, and the comment I made is that I thought that Donald Trump was 100% right in treating a very rude Univision reporter, Jorge Ramos, the way he did. Now, the leftist loons that are in other parts of the media have condemned Donald Trump and said he was the one that was rude. No. Jorge Ramos stood up and was inserting himself into a conversation and taking over the press conference, and I think Trump had every right basically to tell him to shut up and sit down.
Well, Ramos was removed from the
That's right.
situation, and then later when he, I guess, decided he was going to be somewhat civil, they let him go ahead and talk to Trump. This is what I think. I think that what Trump is doing is bringing attention to this issue like nobody else has in 7 years or 6, whatever it's been, since Obama's been president, or even before that.
You know what, Randy? Randy, here's
some people are getting very afraid because this kind of attention, educates the people.
Randy, here's the deal, and I want to hear your opinion on this. The more I sit and listen to Trump, and I hear what he's saying about various conditions around the world and here economically in the United States. And the more I hear the griping and the complaining and the wailing from the liberal left, the more I am confirmed that what Donald Trump is doing is absolutely putting the First Amendment up on a pedestal, and he's exercising free speech that we should have been saying a long time ago.
There's no question about it. And the thing of it is in the afternoon, you know, or I don't know, whatever time he comes on, Beck is continuing to make fun and attack Trump.
Yeah.
And whether or not Trump had a different opinion at one time or not, what he's doing now is what needs to be done. And I like Glenn Beck a lot, but I'm pretty fired up about what he's doing.
I am surprised that Glenn Beck, and I've read most all of his books, and I've listened to his commentaries and everything, and I am surprised that he's taken the stance that he has, because, quite frankly, we need to get out of the same old rut. And politically speaking, we're seeing somebody that is a Moses, if you will, that's leading the people out of the bonds of these old professional politicians, and that's Donald Trump. And quite frankly, if he wins or doesn't win, it doesn't make a real difference, because he's opened up a Pandora's box of where they better adhere to what's being talked about. They better start talking about it, better start doing something about it, and that's what Trump has done. He's created an enthusiasm for a country that's been in the doldrums.
There's no question about it. It's hope. Hope springs eternal. And his Hispanic polling is going up.
Yeah.
You know, let's face it. There's millions upon millions of great Hispanic people, and they're working just as hard as you and I. And they're my friends, you know, thank God. And then there's the ones, you know, hell, there's felonious white people too.
Yep.
You know, and it's just that, you know, some of them were born here, some of them weren't, but we do have to kind of, you know, scrutinize the influx of people.
Absolutely. Randy, thank you so much for your call again. I appreciate it. Yep, he's right. There's enthusiasm again with politics, and that's a good thing. Hey, I know there's other enthusiasm being spread around, and that's for the 27th annual production sale of the Zollinger Quarter Horse Ranch this September 12th this year. Don't you miss it. Jerry Zollinger and the family, and I'll tell you what, the tradition of great horses continues. I'm telling you, they've got the best of bloodlines, and you'll be able to partake of this sale on September 12th, starting at 11 o'clock in the morning. You be sure you're up there. 11 a.m. preview prior to the sale, and I'll tell you, you can go online and check your catalogs at ZollingerQuarterHorseRanch.com. Let me say that again without biting my tongue, ZollingerQuarterHorseRanch.com. And for more information, contact Jerry Zollinger at 670-3833. Yes, the tradition of great horses continues at the 2015 27th annual Zollinger Quarter Horse Ranch sale. I'll tell you, I'm going to get old Jerry on the phone here in a couple of days, and also the auctioneer that's going to handle that sale. We'll get him on the phone, too. Have a little interview. Coming up next hour, we have Nick Greenwell. And Nick's going to be talking about aches and pains and arthritis and exercise and what you can do to get back to being you, thanks to our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. I'm telling you, this guy is sharp. Then at 10:30, a very, very interesting gentleman by the name of G. Coleman Alderson. And he wrote a book, and it's called Mountain Whispers. And it's a kind of a looking into the future about what's going to happen to us if Obama's administration goes with this green energy program. Going to be very interesting. Don't miss it. We're going to take a break for about 6 minutes. I'll be back. Zeb at the Ranch. Don't go away. Oh my, here we are, Third hour already. Oh, my goodness, how time flies when you're having fun. Welcome back to Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell. Good morning to you. And, of course, our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. Thank you very much. Along with some of our great advertisers, and they include Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Get on the route service today. Call them. They'll get rid of your garbage. 734-6969. And also our friends at Valley Wide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch at Valley Wide Home and Ranch. Let's take a little look here real quick before we go too much further. Don't forget, too, Ted's Diesel Electric is moving to 635 21st Street in Hayburn. Doug Martin packing everything up and saying, I can better serve you over at the new location, rebuilding your starters, alternators, and generators. And he also sells brand spanking new. Ted's Diesel and Electric moving to 635 21st Street in Hayburn. Well, what is on the menu for the special today at the Chadwick Sports Grill? They've got some tasty specials every day, along with all the great menu choices. Chicken Primavera. Tomato, potato. Anyway, chicken primavera, pasta, served with garlic toast and super salad. Ooh, it sounds good. Always is. And very nice people at the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. You stop in and see them today. Let's go to the phone lines right now, and we have with us physical therapist Nick Greenwell, owner of Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Good morning, Nick. How you doing?
Good morning, Zeb. How are you?
Not too bad. Well, that's not true. I got to get back in there and have you and your staff work on me. I'm getting old and all decrepit, so I got to get back in there.
Yes, you do. You are very old.
Thank you, Nick. That was very kind. You know, Nick, I want to ask you...
Things are well. We can't complain. Weather's good down here, and we've been plenty busy. Life is good.
All right. I want to ask you some questions about various problems that people have. And, of course, arthritis comes to mind. And, boy, after all the broken bones, all the injuries, all the accidents, arthritis seems to be a real cause of me not bounding out of bed in the morning. What causes arthritis, and what does it do to the body and the bones?
Well, there can be a number of things that play a role with arthritis. Genetics, certainly. People get it at a younger age, oftentimes, and most of the time that's genetic. But a lot of times it's just kind of wear and tear. We're pretty tough on our bodies through our lives, and the joints, they kind of take so much use and abuse, and we kind of get those chronic degenerative changes that happen in the joint, and it can wreak all kinds of havoc on us later in life. And so it's important to be careful and be careful as best you can when you're at work or play or whatever. But at some point it's time to address the situation, and things that we can do for that are anything that kind of helps to lubricate the joints, certainly. Range of motion exercises, low impact exercise, stimulates bone and joint. And a lot of people are taking all kinds of supplements and medications and things like that to kind of help keep the inflammatory process down. And again, there's all kinds of synthetic lubrications now that they're using. There's injections. There's all kinds of stuff. It's a huge problem that we address pretty much daily at our office.
Nick, I got to ask you, are you on a cell phone or a private line phone?
I am on a cell phone.
Is there a way I could do a quick commercial, and could we have you call in on a line phone if it's at your office right there? It's really fuzzy, and I want to make sure everybody hears exactly what you have to say.
I'm actually not at my office as we speak.
Oh, okay.
I'm at home today, and I do not have a landline.
Oh, that's all right. We'll continue on, and we'll just ask you to hold that phone really, really still, and hopefully everything will be all right. Let me ask you about arthritis itself. Once it starts in a joint, can exercise, whether it's various exercises every day or swimming pool exercises, whatever, can you start to minimize it and cut it back, or is it something that's going to be an ongoing problem forever?
Well, it's not necessarily something that you can reverse, per se. But definitely we can manage it by being careful with what kinds of activities that we participate in, and just really lubricating the joint as best we can. But no, there's not really anything that at this point that can reverse that. There's all kinds of research being done on procedures to try to resurface the joints and things like that, and the jury's still out on those, but there is a lot of research being done out there right now. But really the best thing we can do now is maybe find a good supplement and continue to lubricate the joint and just exercise in a fairly low impact manner to minimize trauma on the joint.
There seems to be more of a certain accident or injury than others, and one of them that comes to mind is the rotator cuff injury. Is this something that really is more prevalent today than it was 10 years ago?
You know, I don't know that it's necessarily more prevalent now. I think technology is such, and the medical training is such that they're being more and more diagnosed, and there's better treatments available and more success in the treatment of rotator cuff pathology and injuries now. We certainly see it as our number one diagnosis at our office here in Burley. I would say that probably 50% of our business is probably having to do with shoulder injuries, rotator cuff in particular, but whether it be preoperative management, trying to rehabilitate those things without having surgery, and then most certainly post-operative care of rotator cuff repairs.
Let me ask you this, in my case, of course, when I had the knee surgery a year ago, and now I've got problems with my hip and other things, the atrophication of muscles, once muscles start to basically die and go south, is there a possibility of rejuvenating those muscles through exercise programs?
Definitely. Atrophy is a big problem, and a lot of times it doesn't mean that the muscle is actually dying or dead. It means that it's in a dysfunctional state, or it's not being used as it should, or there's a muscle imbalance or something, and something else is compensating for its proper use, and it kind of impairs the biomechanics of the joint. But definitely, if we can isolate those particular muscles and use them in a more functional manner, we can kind of wake them up, so to speak, and start to rebuild those muscle fibers that have atrophied. But a lot of it is neuromuscular training to try and maximize the number of muscle fibers being used. And we had pretty good success with that.
Nick, as people get older, and I guess all of us are going to reach that point where it looks at the rocking chair, and it's a lot easier to say, well, I think I'll sit here and rock rather than get up and walk or do some exercise. What would you tell senior citizens that are listening right now about those that, I don't want to get up, it hurts too much? What would you tell them?
Well, there really is a lot of truth in the old adage that you hear, you use it or lose it. And that really strikes home as people age. And again, it's hard to resist the temptation of just sitting because things are achy and they do hurt. But if you can figure out the right method of moving, for lack of better terms, and lubricate those joints and gently fire those muscles, then the pain starts to kind of slide and go away, and it's easier for you to do those things, and then we kind of get some positive feedback there, and we continue to move more, and they hurt less. So I would say do your best at finding what works best for you and your companion or whomever, and get out and do a little walking program, or go to the local swimming pool or whatever you have access to, and get in and do a little bit of gentle low-impact exercise that way. And I think you'll feel a whole lot better. It also helps to get rid of some of those unwanted pounds that we put on when we're not moving well, and all those extra pounds put pressure on joints and makes you hurt more, and so you get into a really bad negative feedback cycle that way.
Let me ask you this question then. I would say that most people that have been fairly sedentary in their life, and now they say, oh my goodness, I've got to get up, I've got to get some of those muscles rejuvenated. They've got to be really careful about what they do and how they do it, or they're really going to create more problems. Am I right or wrong?
Absolutely. We see it all the time. People will kind of get into that spot where they realize they're 15 to 20 pounds heavier than they used to be, and they're sitting around a lot. Maybe they're tired, whatever the case is. And then one day it kind of hits them, and they decide, okay, I'm getting in shape. I'm going to start moving. I'm going to do this, that, and the other. And they go out and start jogging, or they'll go out and go to the gym and really, really start working out pretty aggressively. And your body isn't ready for that. And they create a lot of problems, and then they just really start to hurt, which makes them not want to move anymore, and they get right back where they started. So it's important that maybe you even seek some counsel before you get started with something like that, and do it in a very gentle and progressive manner that gives you A, confidence, and B, it doesn't make you hurt and you lose your willpower, if you will.
Let's talk a little bit about physical therapy for a few moments. You've had a real diligent study course of the human anatomy and what to do, what not to do, what's going to be the best exercise, etc. Talk about being a physical therapist. Is this a field that still today is wide open for more people to get involved?
Yeah, it's actually a very growing field at this point. There's a lot of programs that are kind of being developed right now. Physical therapy is it's either a 3 years master's degree or a doctorate degree at this point. So it's a total of 7 years, and there's some good schools in the university, and there are a lot of jobs opening now. We see all kinds of different opportunities that are coming our way these days. In that, again, we're seeing a lot more diagnosis of these kind of things like rotator cuff pathologies, and our baby boomers are kind of get to that point where they're having back surgeries and knee replacements and all kinds of things like that. And so the growing need for physical therapy is continuing to escalate. So absolutely, I have a lot of kids that come in from the local area that are interested, and we let them job shadow and kind of hang out and watch and learn a little bit, and it helps them decide if that's really the field that they want to be pushing into, and a lot of them do. It's a very social field, and we see a very, very, very wide variety of patients, especially in a small to mid-sized town like we're in. There's a lot of variety, and it's not something that you just really get monotonous and bored and things like that. So yeah, it's a great field. We love it, and there's definitely room for expansion.
Nick, how do you, as a physical therapist or any other physical therapist on your staff, what do you do when somebody comes in and they say, oh, man, I can't raise my arm any higher than this, or I can't kick a football anymore or something? How do you devise the different exercises that might restore those muscles and help them get back to being themselves?
Well, really, it's all about just evaluating the etiology and the true cause of the dysfunction instead of just treating the symptoms. We don't want to just make the pain go away temporarily by passive things. So it really is the method of evaluation, doing a good, very thorough and comprehensive exam to find out where the dysfunction comes from and kind of tracking it back to its core, and then really starting to develop a treatment kind of based upon whether it's a muscle imbalance or a tear or a very acute injury or a ligament or something like that, or if it's something that's just developed over time through bad habits of poor posture or whatever. And then, again, we just kind of isolate those particular areas of dysfunction and slowly create a treatment plan that will help them get back to their prior level of function, whether it's getting back out on the football field, kicking a soccer ball, or being able to lift their grandkids, whatever it is.
All right. Now, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Tell everybody the hours that you're open and how they can get a hold of you on doctor referrals and start an exercise program.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're right behind the new Goody Motors there off of Main Street, and we open at 7 in the morning, and that's a really busy slot. We like to try and get there early so people that are teaching school or need to get out on the farm or whatever can get in early and get their treatment done before then. And we take our last patients about 4 o'clock and try and get everybody out of there by about 5:30. Our number is 678-1191, And typically, we go by referral from a physician, whether it's a chiropractor, or a PA, or a nurse practitioner, or a doc. And in Idaho, we do have the luxury of having direct access, meaning that you can come and see us without a physician referral. But insurance companies, like they always do, make things a little more challenging for us in that respect. And then a lot of insurance companies do require referral in order for them to kick in. So most of the time we do see folks after a referral. So you'll go see your provider, talk about physical therapy with them, and they'll make the referral. And you can give us a call at that number we just talked about, and we'll kind of take care of things from then on. We'll schedule you for an initial consultation where we can sit down and discuss whatever's ailing you, and then put together a treatment program for you that works.
Absolutely. Nick Greenwell, physical therapist, owner of Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Number to call, 678-1191. Nick, God bless. Thanks for being on the program this morning. Great interview.
Hey, I appreciate the phone calls, Ed. You take care and you get in here and let us get after you again.
All right, my friend. Thank you so much. I've got a lot of respect for that man and what they can do as a team over there at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. And if you've got some aches and pains and soreness and all different kinds of problems, please give them a call. They are good. Give us a call right now at the station, and we'll put you on the air and talk about any subject you want to talk about. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Got a little bit of time here to have you give me a call. Thank you very much. Do you remember about a week ago or 10 days ago, we had a story on this program about the Orlando, Florida airport that built a prayer room for Muslims. Yeah, it was a prayer room just specifically for Muslims. You and I, whether we're Baptists, Lutherans, Catholics, or Mormons, or it doesn't make any difference what other religion, not us. But they spent over $250,000 at this Orlando airport to build a prayer room for Muslims. What about the rest of us? Don't we count? And in our society today, don't you think that we are catering and going overboard to Muslims? Give me a call. Let me know what your thoughts are. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your call that I know is coming in, I also want to remind you about I'm so glad to have these folks back on the air with us. Ryan Horsley and the staff at Red's Trading Post, 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. And I'll tell you something, and I'm very prejudiced in my thinking that now, more so than many, many times in the past, it's great to know that they have a large selection of firearms from Browning, Beretta, Weatherby, Ruger, Bernelli, Smith & Wesson, Winchester, and the staff that knows all about these different guns. They also need used firearms, so if you want to trade in your firearm, they'll give you top dollar for it, and free appraisals on your guns. They've got all the ammo, they've got all the accessories, and I've got a phone that's making all kinds of racket. Don't forget great customer service, and they've got all the accessories like the gun sights, knives, reloading equipment, everything at Red's Trading Post, 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. Number to call, 733-3546. Red's Trading Post. Oh, my goodness, I got to check that out again and see what that was. Deanne, would you mind taking just a moment? This is on the air, live and direct. Give Wheels a call, if you would, please. He needs to talk to you for just a few seconds. And then we'll be ready to go here. Let's take some more calls. Give Wheels a call real quick. And calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Like to hear what you have to say about this or any of the topics that we've talked about this morning. I was watching a video this morning early about some Veterans Administration offices back east that in prime time of serving the vets, nobody was to be found in the office. They shot a video of it and they just stood there with their camera. Nobody was in the office serving our vets. What happened? We'll talk about that in a little bit. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, when you're out in the country driving around, and especially in the Burley area, and you go across one of those canal bridges, you want to thank the Burley Highway District because they do an excellent job of monitoring those bridges to make sure that they're safe. And also, the state of Idaho has an inspection on each one of those bridges every 5 years. So when they talk about the country's bridges deteriorating and everything, it's because of bad management.
I don't know if you and I have ever ridden together in the same vehicle. I think we did one time, but I'm going to tell you this. When it comes to a bridge and the road goes to a bridge, you would not want to ride with me because I absolutely put the pedal to the metal ever since I was a little boy. I hate bridges. I hate going across bridges, and the shortest distance from A to B is to go 100 miles an hour. I do not like bridges.
Well, and bear in mind that Burley Highway District only covers a certain area, so we don't want to they don't want to take the blame for something they
absolutely
have neglected.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you, the bridges that we have across these canals are just excellent.
Well, and, I really do fear a lot of bridges across this United States. Let's just forget about right here locally, but let's go across the United States. Many of them are so outdated. Many of them are a hazard. Many of them need to be refurbished, and it's a major concern right now as to how dangerous bridges really are.
Absolutely, and they just say, we just haven't got the money to do it. Well, the reason they don't have the money to do it is because they didn't budget it like the Burley Highway District does.
Yeah.
Each year, they usually replace at least one canal bridge.
Right.
And it's usually widened so that some of this machinery can get across it. And that sort of thing. I think you do an excellent job, but I know what you mean about some of these rickety old bridges.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, we do need some refurbishment and new bridges, quite frankly, at many, many locations in the United States. I have been in almost every state of the union for an event at one time or another and had a chance to travel around. And I'll tell you, I crossed some bridges back on the East Coast, back in the states like Connecticut, Pennsylvania, etc. Holy buckets, I could not wait to get out of that part of the country and get back home. I got to run, Keith. We got to get the news on at the bottom of the hour. Thank you so much.
You bet.
All right, sir. We're going to take a very short break here during the bottom of the hour and then come back with our guest, G. Coleman Alderson, this next half hour. So you stay tuned. I'll be back in about 3 minutes.
And now back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Oh, thank you very much and welcome back to our last half hour, Zeb at the Ranch on a Wednesday, August 26th. And I talked to this next guest on the phone, about 5-6 days ago. And he graciously sent me a copy of his new book, and that's what we're going to be discussing for the next couple of minutes on this program. But let me back up a little bit further than that. He was referred to me by a lady that absolutely, I think, knows about energy or the lack of in this country more than anybody, and that's Marita Noon out of New Mexico. And I would like to welcome to the microphone this morning author G. Coleman Alderson of Walkertown, North Carolina. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Well, howdy. How's everybody out there?
We're doing great. How's everything with the warm, very tepid, humid North Carolina right now?
Well, just like you said, and as we talked last time, I was putting up some prayers about what's happening out your way with all the wildfires and everything, and posted that up on the Mountain Whispers website, and just I hope things are improved out there for you, Zeb.
You know, actually this morning, for the first time in weeks, our air quality is starting to get much better. Our visibility factor here is, it was down to less than probably, here in the valley where I live, probably at the most, maybe a mile or 2 miles. Now we've got excellent visibility this morning. The air quality's better, so God is good. Coleman, let me ask you about your book, Mountain Whispers, Days Without Sun. I love the title, but what is the general premise of this book? Why did you write it and what it's about?
Well, that's a lot of questions in one there. I came to write it because I'm fourth-generation landowner and mineral resource developer based in central Appalachia, West Virginia. And over the past decade or so, we have seen a horrible visitation of government regulations that have driven out industry, have driven away jobs, have caused extreme poverty, and we are at the end effect of the war on coal. A lot of my compatriots up there in West Virginia have essentially become, and this is at all levels, by the way, from the top, some of the higher-up employees with coal companies on down to your regular coal miner, your regular business store owner. They've all become refugees. And it's all, I'm laying most of this, 90% of it, at the feet of the regulators. So being in that position and seeing it oncoming, like the terrible oncoming train that's coming down the tunnel, I started writing to my fellow cohorts in this about 6 years ago saying, look out, folks, this is coming. And at one point had a conversation with an attorney, and I said, well, what if, tell me something, Jim, what if we're completely wrong about carbon dioxide? What if the premise, just the ground-based premise of this global warming phenomenon is totally wrong? What if it isn't going to warm up? What if carbon dioxide isn't this big, huge, I wrote a little thing on my Little Red Pill blog about Darth Carbon. As you think of carbon dioxide, and what do you think of? Oh, well, that's just air, right? Mm-hmm. Something we breathe out every time we breathe in. It's just a cycle, and it keeps plants fresh and green and makes our crops grow. And we couldn't live without it. I mean, that's plain fact. Then you get into what they're doing with words, and they call it carbon. You will not see carbon dioxide credits. You won't see, we have to stop carbon dioxide. They cast it in a very propagandistic, hard to say that word, in terms of propaganda. And they play with words like that. So we get this image of carbon as this, dirty, charcoaly, sticky stuff that pollutes our air, and we get all these images. And so that's what we're up against, and I don't have any other skills much in terms of being a politician or being, richly endowed so I can start throwing money like some of these other guys like Soros and some of these other fellows are these funding groups are throwing at the global warming thing. But I can write, so I started out thinking I might just put out a blog that would tell the facts. I'm going on too long here, Zeb.
Well, no, let me jump in a little bit with you, Coleman, and ask some questions right there, because that was a good overview of everything. But in your book, and I don't want to give anything away, I'm right in the middle of it right now, and it's a very, very interesting premise, the way you've written the book and the characters in the book, etc. But basically, am I wrong in saying that this book is a kind of a scare book for us to open our eyes and realize that with the current leadership that we have now in this country, and for that matter the world, we may be seeing the end of fossil fuels, we may be seeing the end of Energy America, and quite frankly it might be a preview of going back to the cave and burning buffalo dung. Am I right or wrong on that?
Well, you're absolutely right on that, because the way I'm picturing it, and see, I'm a writer, so I can, just like the climate guys can make stuff up. I'm making stuff up on my end, but using logic and common sense as to where it's all going. And 30 years in the future, you're going to see a situation, if we continue on down this road, where people will be clustered into population zones. People like yourself, like us, we have a nice 50-acre spread up north of here, will be drawn in from, incentives, and then they'll go from incentives to taxing to declaring part of your land part of a conservancy project because they've discovered some slug or some snail darter or something that's there that releases you from any use of the land. And then people will be put upon with all kinds of other sorts of onerous things a la Agenda 21, and I presume you all have covered that.
Absolutely.
But that's really going on. We're having a move to get people moved into more urban areas, and I could serve up the recent law or regulation that's come out about the fair housing.
Right.
Texas court ruling brought out that in a pretty concise way that the federal government's looking to override local zoning boards and declare certain areas are discriminating because of the housing situation. And that's a sidebar, but this is one of the things that's coming that's pushing people into more urban living situations.
Well, let me jump in and say this.
21 states that the number one reason why the world is as it is in their eyes is because of private property ownership. And you can go into Google, type Agenda 21, and you're going to see that very close to the beginning of the actual document where it declares that the ownership of private property, that is the problem.
Yeah.
And we're seeing this played out in all kinds of ways, the Clean Power Plan and everything. But my people are living 35 years into the future. We have the folks in the mountains that are staying with the mountains, staying with their life, staying rugged, independent, and much the same way I'd figure the folks out there out west in your zone would do. They just don't cotton very well to the revenuers, the federal folks coming down and telling them how to live and all. So they're not moving into the cities unless they're under some pressure. And then the city folks are there, and they've been promised all these jobs, green jobs and support and care and comfort and security and come live with us and we'll take care of you. Mm-hmm. So those folks have been suckered in. They're beginning to, that Kool-Aid they drank is beginning to taste pretty bitter. And, of course, you have the upper tier of the administration that is living high on the hog, which, you see that in many of these dictatorship-type situations where the ones that are near the top get to wear the blue jeans and go to the movie theaters and
right.
travel and everything, but not so with just the regular folks.
Let me interrupt.
That's the dynamic that plays out between the people that are living in the Appalachians are being increasingly pressured
right.
to abandon. They're being referred to as retros. People are beginning to have their what little they have in terms of hunting and the ability to farm taken away from them. So there's a sort of a crossover point. I don't know whether you've gotten to it yet. But there's a certain critical point where several of the main characters say, "We've had enough of this crap. We're going to come back at them, and we're not going to take it anymore." They're going to get their Braveheart on and start massing into a sort of cavalry-type militia, and they're going to start fighting back. And that's the essence of a good bit of the book, but it also describes what life on a day-to-day basis is like for the folks that live there, some of whom are hiding because they don't want to be registered into the government rolls and therefore be chipped with a RFID chip monitored. And I might say that all these things that I've put in here in this book are based on what I've studied and what I've researched for over 6 years. And I've just taken the logical conclusion of where it's all going. The green folks have allied, and they joined hip to hip with the folks that would really so much like to rule over us all in the upper tiers of our government and also the global government. And if anybody wants to get a cold chill down their spine, type in the name Christiana. That's Christiana Figueres. And watch some of her videos.
Right.
Now, she is a higher upper-level chieftain or chiefess of the UN's climate change project. And she has a plan for us all, and she admits outright it has nothing so much to do with the environment as a changeover of our 150 years of economics that she obviously sees as very problematic.
Right.
He's referring to instilling a socialistic, communistic, if you will, regimen on the entire world. That will give you chills.
Well, let me jump in here for a minute, Coleman.
Dad, I wanted to tell a story because it reaches people where facts and figures and graphs and all this sometimes do not. And if folks can identify with these characters that are really at the kind of at the tail end of being whipped around by all the regulations and the doctrines and the mandates that have come down, and these are, in my mind, real people. And I think folks will identify with the characters and understand who it is they are and why it is they're doing what they're doing. And in part, I am very hopeful this will come at another angle that will convince people that we need to stop this. We don't want to live in this kind of future. And so like Ayn Rand did with Atlas Shrugged and Michael Crichton has done with his State of Fear book, his novel, I'd like to accomplish the same for this generation and hopefully for millennials as well, to inform them in a graphic way where we are headed and give them the motivation and the insight to say, whoa, stop, let's back up, let's go down another trail and get into this green, care for the environment, being good stewards, which we are, we're instructed to be good stewards, no doubt about that, but not to release the civilization that we've created.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
A careful, measured, rational approach to taking care of things. And I think we're definitely not on that track. We need to back up, put it in reverse, and pick the other way that will do it all and take care of the environment, take care of human beings, keep our economic structures intact, which has delivered us to where we are. And, just be who we can be, because the movement as it is unplugging us from our dreams.
All right.
It's taking away our states' rights. It's taking away our local rights. It is literally unplugging us from the American dream, and I am bound not to let that happen.
All right.
Every way I can do, and so far this is the way I've chosen.
All right, now let me interrupt you for no. Wait a minute, Coleman. Wait. I can't let you go on indefinitely without me asking some questions here. First of all, I'm trying to. Believe me, with the imposition of green energy, tied to the UN global control atmosphere. Do you, and give me a short answer on this because I'm almost out of time, do you see this movement as an end of society, end of families, end of cities and rural areas, and a return to chaos like it was before this great land was settled? What's going to happen in your eyes in the not too distant future?
Well, here it is. It's not about green jobs. It's not about climate change. It's not about saving the earth or even saving the children. It's not about energy. It's about power. And that is the bottom line. And the way they're going to gain it is through creating dependency. And the more dependency they can create, the more power they can wield. And it's kind of like setting out a trot line. They have all these issues that people will come up and nibble on the hooks and finally get hooked. And then they're going to be jerked out of the water. And then it's completely downhill after that.
All right, well, we have a caller with a question. And, caller, I'm going to ask you to keep it very short and succinct because I'm almost out of time. Go ahead quickly.
Yeah, I heard the other day that there were 2 coal companies that were taking out bankruptcy. And George Soros went in and bought them out.
That's right. That's right.
What's he planning on doing with them? Just shutting them down? Anyway, I'll let him comment on that.
All right, go ahead. Coleman, what about this? And we carried this story on my newscast, on my program about a week ago. George Soros investing in coal companies when he's been the big advocate of shutting them down. What's he doing? What kind of a hypocrite is he?
Well, you just nailed it there, Zeb. He is a hypocrite. He's admitted that if it comes to money, that's his priority. And I have a few quotes about that from him. But, yeah, and those companies are probably the last company standing. He has pushed and pushed and pushed these environmental organizations and also candidates onto the American scene, and they have achieved. They've literally driven, there's Patriot, just a second bankruptcy, and there's Alpha. Both companies we personally are dealing with. And so he's kind of taken out a number of the players, and now he's buying into the last player standing, right? And it is very, to me, it's demonic. Tell you the truth, it's outright demonic.
All right, now I've got to jump in here, Coleman.
Suffered enormous pain, and there is Soros coming in to, basically like a vulture,
right?
Coming in to feed off what's left.
Now, I want to ask you this last question. I only got 2 minutes left in this segment. It's easy for you and I to sit here on this radio program and condemn what's going on with the hypocrisy and the ugliness of green energy, but really, where are the senators? Where are the congressmen? Where are our leaders fighting back against this idiocy promoted by Obama and others? Where are they? Why aren't they standing up?
Well, I think that several things. For one, where do they start where do they kick off the major campaign? It's in Iowa, right? What's Iowa all about these days? Ethanol, right? And I don't mean to get any people's hackles up out there, but that's where they start their campaign. So there's some compromise going on there, straight up.
Right.
Straight off. I think some of them will come out. There's Walker has said something about not supporting clean power plan. And we need to ask these people. We need to get in their face and say, do you support the continued use of fossil fuels? Do you support the continued use of fracking? Get right in their face. See if they're answering those questions directly. Mm-hmm. And ask them about global warming. Do you believe that CO2 is the major cause of catastrophic global warming? And if they equivocate, turn around and find somebody else if you can.
All right. Now, let me ask you this real quick, and I'm going to have you back in the next couple of days because I'm going to finish the book, and I want to do another follow-up on this. Where can people find the book, Mountain Whispers, Days Without Sun by G. Coleman Alderson? Where do they find it real quick?
Well, go up on Amazon. Just type in what you said, and we have it in Kindle format. We also have it in paperback. It's just been discounted, so this is the perfect time to get up there on Amazon and get you a copy. If you like it, read it, give us a review up online, tell your friends, and also we have a little website that I use to put up some of this information called littleredpill.com. That's littleredpill.com. And I have an article up there that lists for everybody's homework, a whole list of books and websites they can check out to begin their journey, as I did 6 years ago, into learning more and more about what's happening.
All right. Thank you so much. I'm going to be in touch with you after the program sometime this afternoon or tomorrow morning and talk to you more about coming back. Coleman Alderson, author of Mountain Whispers and Days Without Sun. Thank you, sir. I'll be in touch with you, and God bless you for your being on the program this morning.
Thank you so much, Deb. Take care.
All right. Thank you very much. Very, very interesting man, and we're going to have him back. I didn't have time to ask him all the questions or get the answers, and we'll have him back in the next week. Holy smokes, it's time for the weather. Brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657. Your hometown meat cutter, changing the way we eat one delicious bite at a time. Don't forget, they're going to be cutting and wrapping and flooring all the meat from the fat stock sale at the Twin Falls County Fair. You ask for it, and they'll have it for you. All the great meats at Scarrows Meats in Jerome. Here now, Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we do make our way through the work week. Partly cloudy for today, a little bit on the breezy side. Out of the southeast, right around 12 miles an hour. Expect a high of 85 for today. Tonight, low of 57. Tomorrow, pretty much the same as today, but as we work our way towards the weekend, it is going to be a little bit warmer. By Friday, looks like sunny skies, high of 90. However, for the weekend, winds are going to be remaining steady out of the west, and looks like partly cloudy skies. Highs are going to be in the low to mid-80s. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Range.
Very well done, Gina. Thank you very much. And don't forget, brought to you by Scarrows Meats. Don Scarrow and the rest of the crew, good folks over there at 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657, changing the way we eat one delicious bite at a time. Oh, I want to tell you, too, about our major sponsor on this program and how appreciative we are of them, and that's, of course, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. Holy smokes, they have got all the tires for all the different driving needs. If you're on the road every day and putting on hundreds and hundreds of miles a week, you'd better stop in and check out new tires. And if you're just going down to Aunt Martha's and Uncle Fred's, hey, they can help you. Make sure you check out all the tires for your style of driving. And 2, they've got the best in brake service, the best in brake service, the best in front end alignment, shocks and struts, and batteries, but always the best in service to you. Stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. The best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Holy smokes, busy morning this morning, and again, our thanks to the last guest we had, G. Coleman Alderson. We'll get him back on the program. Tomorrow, Thursday, we've got a whole bunch of people coming on, including a lawyer with the Pacific Legal Foundation talking about land takings away from private citizens going to the government. We're going to have him on the air along with all of our different segments, Cache County School Days, and, of course, Rita Ramsey at 9:30. It's going to be very interesting, always is, right here on Zeb at the Ranch. Tune in tomorrow morning at 8:06. That's when we'll start the ride for 3 hours. And, of course, K-Bar 1230 and streaming live on the internet, zebbell.com. Thank you for tuning in. And remember, the way things were are the way things ought to be. You have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow morning.